Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Leslie, and today we're going to do an Easter card because it's fast approaching. Boy, the year is flying by, and in the blink, we'll be back to let's make Christmas stuff. It's just incredible. So, I do have an update on the Intina printer. The little mini 3D Intina has flown the nest. Unfortunately, it ran into a snag and had to be returned. That being said, I am not without a 3D printer, so there will be projects coming up. Stay tuned for that. Numbered or the next item on the list is I gave you a sneak peek, a very quick sneak peek of something that is coming up to do with the laser cutter. And guys, it is driving my mind over the edge of a cliff. But when it's done, it is going to be awesome. So hopefully, if not the next video on what's today, Wednesday, on Friday, then it will be the video on Monday, depending if I can get things straight in my head and get it to where I need it to be. But for today, we are going to be using February's Club of the Month from Spellbinders. Why February, you ask? Well, I wasn't available when it came up for order, and so I ordered late and received it late. But that doesn't matter. We are still going to use it because I use these things year round, right? It's the way it works. So let's go down to this very confusing, messy table because I have a couple of tips and then we're going to get into the card making. So I'm going to move you down now. And here we go. So this is not a sponsored video. This is not an advertisement. It is me giving you a tip. I love my guillotine cutter for when I have to make card bases. And here's my tip. Okay, if you're making A2 card bases or A5 or B6, whatever size, when I go to cut them, I use a whole stack. This is a small stack. I'm almost at the end of it. And I alligator clip them before I cut them. The alligator clip goes on this side. I line my paper up to my 5.5 using this little guide and I cut. Then I keep them in a stack like this in the little spinny rack beside me, and they're always there ready to be used. The only thing I have left to do after that is to go ahead. Oops, we'll need this again in a sec, so I might as well. And crease the middle. That's it. So that's easy. Now, I want to show you something. This is not the February one. This is just how the dies come, okay? But the February one that we are using today is so full of small pieces that I went ahead and I bagged them. I got these little bags off of Temu and I put them in there because there are pieces that are so tiny in this collection that I just knew they were going to go places. So this one is called Dancing Hoppy Bunnies Everywhere. And what are we going to do? We are going to follow the example card for what the style is going to be, but the colors will be different. So there we go. And oh, by the way, there was 35 cutting dies. Okay. So there is that. Then I used this, and this is the 3D embossing folder of February, and it was Petite Bow. And if you want an idea of how big it is, there you go. That is the green piece that it cut out, and you could see those lovely bows. Much too big to be used on my card, but that is where the guillotine cutter comes in, right? Then, of course, we have all these little pieces, and I'll show you just how well this works. Whee! So many little tiny pieces. Okay. There is the little egg. Look at how big that is, right? Then we can move on because there is in here, whoops, pieces that are even smaller. Look at our chickadee legs. Not as big as a teardrop, for goodness sakes, or it feels like it when you're trying to keep track of them, and hence the little bag. Look at our little chickadee. He indeed is not very big, but you are going to be amazed in a moment at the detail that he does give off. It is absolutely amazing. So, like I said, they did come packaged properly, okay? But I moved them into here. I still do keep my package because I want the example card on the back, number 1. And number 2, on the back, it also shows you how to assemble the individual pieces, what parts they require. Okay, so we've got that. Now, for a 5 or a A2 card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, or half of a sheet of small cardstock, I go ahead and I cut down my base to 5 1/4. So I just move over here to the 5 1/4 tick. Whoops. Come on, shimmy. I place my hand there. And I think this will be perfect. 5 1/4. Right there. And let's double check that I am right because, you know, I have been known to be wrong. So there we go. Wonder if this one could be used. It's the bit that's left over. I'm sure it could actually. Let me get this done so that I have my base to work from. I will use a scoring tool after, but I want to see if I could get away with using this. No, too small. Not how I want it to look, so I add it to the slot on my carousel in order to keep it handy. So this one is now 5 1/4. It leaves a little border around. Whoops. We're going to stand it up this way. Leaves a little border around. And we want it by 4. So I move this arm over to 4. That's why I love this so much. There we go. And this piece here, I do not get rid of. It goes straight into the scrap bin beside me. So now I can just take this and its other piece, which I'm going to be honest, I never use. And I am going to place it down on the floor. It just makes life a lot easier when it's out of the way. Now, some of you have been saying, Leslie, it's great. You have all these bits and bobs to play with. But I want to know, how would you embellish a card? Like you've got all your design together, like our little bunny, right? He still needs his ears, I'm aware of that. And we're going to do those. But you're saying, like, how do I now embellish this if I don't have the fancy inks and everything? Well, guys, it's quite simple. What I do is I grab a marker, or I grab I have even used, um, instead of markers, I have even used just a black Bic pen. Anything that gives you contrast will work for you. That's all you need, okay? You don't need anything fancy. If this turns out not to be your thing, I don't want you to have a whole bunch of fancy stuff that you can no longer use, okay? So use what you have in hand. Use markers. Use pencils. A pencil can make a big difference. Use a big pen or any kind of pen. Use pencil crayons. You could use crayons if you can get a fine tip on them, if your embellishing's fine like this. And then all you want to do, whoops, if your stuff isn't busy rolling away, all you want to do is take it, and using a fine tip, you just want to go along and add your details. Just like so. And I will show you here. See that? Whoops. See how that one pocket stands out? That is just using a black marker, guys. That's all this is. It is following the guidelines or stitching lines laid out, and it's just a black marker. Now, if you don't want to do this, that is absolutely fine. But I like to have just a touch of dimension to my cards. And since this one is being mailed, I don't want to add a whole bunch of items that are then going to get banged and knocked off or crushed like flowers in the mail. So I am adding my dimension quite simply. And I'm leaving it go while I do this because I want you to see how fast this process can be. Okay? And here I will give you a peek at what a difference that makes. Okay? Now, some of you have asked, what is my favorite way to glue these like little ears and things? Well, I'm going to tell you. My favorite way is the Xyron. This is not an ad. It is not sponsored. It is just the honest to goodness truth for somebody who has been using it almost since she discovered them in the craft store. By almost, I mean there was a period when my craft stuff was in boxes in storage after we moved, and I had to use the handy dandy glue sticks. But boy, the reunion with my Xyron was so nice. So here we go. We just peel it off. And now it is literally, for those of you who have never seen a Xyron before, a sticker, and you stick it on just like that. How much easier can it get to do little things like that? Well, I will show you. There is also, and I believe that they sell them at Walmart. Let me see if I have one handy. There are also little squares that, or big, depending which brand you're getting, that have that are glue sheets. So what you do, excuse me, is you put your paper onto the glue sheet. So you would take this, if this was the glue sheet, you would actually put it before you die cut it. You would glue it to the paper. Okay, so glue sheet glued to paper before die cut, then die cut, and when it comes out, peel the back off and you have a sticker. So both ways work very well. Now for my little bunny, I also want to highlight his little um, areas here on his paws and his ankles. Now you could go a step further if you have the stuff. I will not this time, simply to keep it easy for you guys to use the things that you have at home, but you could go a step further and you could use rubs and inks and do all kinds of things. So our little bunny is done, and now I want to highlight on, whoops, my little paint can. It is tiny. I should be using, to make it easier for you guys to see, these. There we go. So our little paint can, I am going to use, oh boy, okay, just about. Okay, I'm going to use a deeper purple, like this one, to highlight the label. Just like I did on the pants with the stitching. Nice and easy. Honestly, Spellbinders can't make it any easier because they give you all these, whoops, lovely guidelines to follow. So there we go, upside down paint can. But now its label is quite apparent. Now, remember I was telling you that some of the pieces are teeny tiny? Look at our chickadee. How much tinier can you get, right? And for him, I am going to use this color. And I am going to highlight right where those marks are again. Okay, and there we go. Now he has himself a little bit, come on camera, of embellishment. So let's get started putting all of this. Oh, wait, I do have my banner. I have my Hoppy Easter banner here. And I think that I am going to use the same color that I just used on Sir Chickadee there. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to use the blue. I am sending this to a special little man, or boy, I guess you would say, and so I will use the blue. And once again, just following the details that were in the die. And for somebody like me who has decent printing but not great printing for small areas, this is a blessing. So if you decide that making cards is for you, get yourself a couple of sentiment sets. Or if you go so far as to get something like the Cricut, the Silhouette, the Lock Cut, any of them, be sure to take advantage of the pens if you don't like your cutting, because they really are a blessing. So there we go. Hoppy. Let's put it on this. What is beeping? Something is trying to tell me it's done, but I have nothing on the go. So Hoppy Easter. What is beeping? Ignore the beeping because I don't know what it is. We'll see if that helps. So now what we are going to do is hang on one sec, guys. I want to figure out what the beeping is and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I have no idea. It just stopped. So now we've pretty well got everything done. I have my beautiful bows here. I wish that camera would just focus for me, but... So what am I going to do? Oops, going to lose little chickadee. That is why I bought these trays from Walmart, because they hold the small pieces. And that, in case you didn't realize, is a blessing. So let's do this. I'm just going to take this, and for something this size, I can use a tape runner. Right? Whoops. When it wants to work. Let's get it going here. There we go. The only thing when you're first starting out, if you're unsure about placement of things, remember that tape runners don't peel back easily. Okay, so you kind of want to be sure to set it, and as they say, forget it, because you're not picking it up again. Now, I'm going to grab a paper towel because I forgot to do that. Here we go. And I'm going to take a minute for a drink. Sorry, guys, but it's dry in the craft room today. Alrighty, so now I have this stuff. Americana Decor Satin Enamel. And this one is... What is this one? I guess it's satin. And what I do is it's a liquid. It's very liquidy. I put a little bit on my finger, and I'm going to grab back this piece, and I'm going to test it. Okay? And I'm going to see how well it shows up if I do that. And see, do I even like it when I do that? And I don't. So, there we go. I did not like that, so I will not be doing the rub. But if you have things like this, oh, there it is. It's natural beige. Okay, I don't have many colors in it. If you have something like that on hand and you want to use it, test it on a small piece first. So now let's put our bunny together. Okay, let's get our card assembled so we can move on. So here we go. First things first, I am going to put my bunny. I want to put him where I desire. And I think that is, whoops, right here. Don't look at the back of my stuff. It's never, the back is hidden, people. The back is hidden. All righty. Move your card off to the side. Trust me, sometimes you'll give a squeeze, and the next thing you know, what you have is a whole bunch of glue come out. So I am putting Bunny flat. Like I said, this is going through the mail, so not too much sticking up. So I will put him flat right there. Oops, he's got. There we go. And what I do is while he sits, in order to be sure that he is getting flat on there, I will do this. Okay? And I will just leave it sit for just a couple of seconds because this is embossed and I have it the embossed side up or debossed. I always confuse that, but I have the bumps up. Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm getting technological words in there again. So there we go. He is all pressed down. Now I am going to take my eggs and figure out how I want them. All right. And basically, I am following the guidelines of what is on the back of the package because if you have something cute, why not take advantage, right? If the project there, oh, I got a hair. It's already cute. Why not take advantage of it? Now, I could take the time to highlight all of these, but I think that they are beautiful all on their own. Now, I am going to stick my big egg down flat, and then I'm going to add some dimension to my other egg. Okay. Ooh. I put it too close. Darn. Okay, well, you know what? You work with what you got. I'm just going to lift your little paw, Bunny. Sorry. And you are going to rest there. So I am going to be changing it up a bit, but that's okay. I'm allowed. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to give it of a lift up. So just one sec. Here we go. I have my tape and I keep an old pair of scissors handy for this tape. And I'm going to tell you something. People always ask me why I put glue onto my foam tape. You don't need to. No, I don't need to. But I do not spend a fortune, whoops, on foam tape. To tell you the truth, I get my foam tape from You guessed it, the dollar store. So, just for the sake of the fact that I want to be sure when it's mailed that it is truly stuck down, I take 2 seconds out of my day and I add some glue. It's literally that easy. So the foam tape will give it what it needs to be um, dimensional, and the glue will help it in the long term. So this is what we have so far to our little card. Now what I am going to do is I am going to grab my Hoppy Easter banner and I'm going to get it down. And it's as simple as this, guys. You know, if you don't have a lot of time, you can cut these pieces out and add the little detail like in here with the pen. And you could send it this way. This is fine. But I want to send him with a friend. So this little chickadee here needs to be on the card. Whoops, oops, 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 oops. He's got such tiny legs, even the tweezers didn't want to hold them yesterday. So I think that I will place him right there. I kind of want him sitting on my bunny's paws. Now, I am going to take the paintbrush that I am cut out. It's this one here. And the design on the big egg is the same design that is on the paintbrush. So what I am going to do is put my paintbrush there. I am so glad to have a fine tip glue. If you don't have a fine tip glue, you can, of course, dip into glue, or you could use a glue stick, anything that works for you. Now, this hand is going to be holding it. There we go. And you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 usually does me. And I am going to put my paint can right there. Whee! Just going to set it right there. Make sure that everything is pushed down, guys. Now, it did cut out some other little pieces that are like drips of paint that could drip down, but I am not going to use them. I'm liking my card the way it is. So it is not exactly the way that is, whoops, on the back of the packaging, but it is similar and the packaging was used as the guideline. There you go, guys. Like I said, just using a marker to do the embellishments. A little bit of pop-up tape on the one egg, and you have a gorgeous card to give somebody. Okay? You could buy stickers and do the same layering effect. You could go to the dollar store and find out what they have for dies for Easter, because I know I saw some there. You could buy a paper pad that is Easter, and it's already got these all made, and you just make a card. It's that simple, guys. You don't need all the fancy gadgets and gadgets. I hope you guys enjoyed this simple, basic look at card making with what you have on hand. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you again on Friday. Happy crafting. Bye.